Marcus Reed pressed his face against the cold viewport of his salvage ship, the Wanderer, watching the massive structure slowly rotate against the star-filled void. Kepler Station hung in the darkness like a metallic flower, its 5 arms spread wide around a central hub. Emergency lights blinked sporadically along its hull, casting eerie shadows across the docking ports. "Beautiful, isn't she?" Marcus muttered to himself, his breath fogging the reinforced glass. And completely abandoned, the station had been broadcasting a distress beacon for 3 months, but no one had responded. The Outer Rim territories were lawless places where people minded their own business, especially when it came to derelict installations. But Marcus wasn't most people. He was desperate. His fingers traced the collection notice crumpled in his jacket pocket. 60,000 credits owed to the Meridian Banking Consortium, due in 2 weeks, or they'd seize his ship and throw him in debtor's prison. The Wanderer was all he had left after his last salvage operation went sideways when claim jumpers showed up. Marcus had been scraping by on small jobs ever since, barely keeping fuel in the tanks. But Kepler Station was different. If even half the rumors were true, the research facility had been working on advanced energy systems before it went dark. One intact fusion core would clear his debt and give him enough to start fresh. The approach took 40 minutes. The station's size became more apparent as he drew closer. Each arm was nearly a kilometer long, and the central hub could have housed a small city. Whatever had happened here, it had been sudden. Debris floated in a slow orbit around the structure, suggesting some kind of internal explosion or catastrophic system failure. The docking clamps engaged with a metallic thunk. Marcus checked his suit's seals and grabbed his equipment bag, which contained cutting tools, emergency supplies, and a sidearm. He paused at the airlock, studying the readouts on his wrist display. Atmosphere on the other side was thin but breathable, temperature just above freezing. The airlock cycled with a wheeze of ancient machinery. Marcus stepped through into a maintenance corridor lit by flickering emergency strips. The air tasted metallic and cold, with an underlying scent of ozone. He activated his suit's recording system and began walking. The corridor was wide enough for 2 people to pass comfortably, with access panels running along the walls. Everything looked normal, almost mundane, except for the complete absence of crew. Personal log, Day 1. Marcus spoke into his helmet comm. Initial entry into Kepler Station successful. No immediate signs of hostile activity. But something feels wrong. The station's too clean, too empty. The first sign of trouble came when Marcus reached the transit hub connecting the docking arm to the main station. The blast doors were sealed, but not locked. When he triggered the manual release, they slid open to reveal a scene that made him step back instinctively. The circular chamber beyond was filled with strange growths, crystalline structures that pulsed with a faint blue light. They covered the walls and floor like frozen lightning, creating a maze of sharp angles and smooth curves. The air shimmered with energy discharges, and Marcus's suit sensors detected high levels of exotic radiation. "What the hell happened here?" he whispered, moving carefully. He stepped into the chamber. The crystals were warm to the touch, and they hummed with a low frequency that he could feel in his bones. Some were small, no bigger than his fist, while others towered over his head like alien trees. The pattern seemed random at first, but as he looked closer, Marcus began to see an underlying structure, as if the crystals were forming a massive, 3-dimensional circuit. Following a path between the crystal formations, Marcus made his way to the far side of the chamber. The exit led to a maintenance shaft that climbed toward the station's command level. He was halfway up when he heard a sound like singing, faint but unmistakable, coming from somewhere above. Marcus froze, his hand moving to his sidearm. The sound was hauntingly beautiful, almost ethereal, but there wasn't supposed to be anyone alive on the station. He forced himself to keep climbing, following the melody through the twisting passages of the station's superstructure. The singing grew louder as he reached the command level. It was coming from the central laboratory, a vast chamber that occupied the heart of the station's hub. Marcus approached the sealed door cautiously, his weapon drawn. When he pressed his palm against the scanner, it flashed green, and the door slid open. The laboratory was a cathedral of science. with a vaulted ceiling that rose 30 meters above the floor. Workstations and equipment bays lined the walls, while the center of the room was dominated by a massive device that looked like a fusion reactor, crossed with a particle accelerator. Energy conduits snaked across the floor, all leading to a single point of stasis pod that glowed with the same blue light as the crystals. And inside the pod, suspended in a column of shimmering energy, was the most beautiful woman Marcus had ever seen. She was tall and slender, with skin that seemed to glow with an inner light. Her hair was silver white, flowing around her like liquid mercury, and her features were sharp and delicate in a way that suggested she wasn't entirely human. She appeared to be sleeping, her eyes closed, her lips slightly parted as if she were about to speak. The singing was coming from her. Marcus approached the pod slowly, his heart pounding. The woman's presence filled the chamber with an otherworldly energy that made his skin tingle. She was wearing a form-fitting suit that looked like it was made of the same crystalline material he'd seen in the transit hub, and her hands were pressed against the pod's inner surface as if she were trying to break free. "Who are you?" Marcus whispered, knowing she couldn't hear him. A new sound echoed through the chamber, the distant hum of ship engines. Marcus cursed under his breath and moved to the nearest viewport. 3 vessels were approaching the station, their hulls painted in the black and gold of the hegemony fleet. Military ships, fast and heavily armed. He looked back at the woman in the pod. Whatever she was, whoever she was, the military wanted her badly enough to send a strike force. That meant she was either incredibly valuable or incredibly dangerous, maybe both. The lead ship was already moving toward the main docking bay. Marcus had maybe 10 minutes before they reached the command level. He could run, abandon the woman and try to escape. It was the smart play, the safe play. But something about her expression stopped him. Even in stasis, she looked afraid. Marcus made his decision. He holstered his weapon and began working on the pod's controls. The system was complex, with multiple safety interlocks and biometric scanners, but he'd worked with enough alien technology to understand the basic principles. He began the revival sequence, his hands moving quickly over the controls. The pod's hum changed pitch as the stasis field fluctuated. The woman's eyes moved beneath her closed lids, and her breathing became more pronounced. She was waking up. "Come on," Marcus urged, glancing at the chamber's entrance. "Come on, wake up." The stasis field collapsed with a sound like breaking glass. The woman's eyes snapped open, revealing irises that swirled with the same blue energy as the crystals. She gasped, her back arching as she fought against the pod's restraints. Then her gaze found Marcus, and she went very still. They stared at each other for a long moment. Her eyes were ancient, filled with a sadness that seemed to span centuries. But there was something else there to hope, fragile and desperate. "You're not one of them," she said, her voice carrying a musical quality that made Marcus's heart skip. "No," Marcus replied, offering her his hand. "I'm Marcus Reed. I'm here to help." She hesitated, then took his hand. Her skin was warm, almost fever hot, and he felt a jolt of energy pass between them. "I am Zara Voss," she said, and even her name sounded like music. "The hegemony fleet, they're here for me. They want to use my abilities to power their weapons. I won't let them." The sound of cutting tools echoed through the station's corridors. The military had reached the first blast doors. "We need to go," Marcus said. "There's another way," Zara said, moving to the laboratory's main console. "The station's jump drive is still functional. I can activate it. Take us somewhere safe." Her hands moved over the controls, and the crystals throughout the station began to glow brighter. The air hummed with barely contained energy as ancient systems came online. "Where are we going?" he asked. "Somewhere they'll never find us," Zara replied. "Somewhere we can be free." The station lurched as the jump drive activated. Reality twisted around them, stars stretching into lines of light as Kepler Station tore through the fabric of spacetime. When the universe stopped spinning, they were alone in the darkness between stars. Zara collapsed, her strength exhausted. Marcus caught her as she fell, his arms wrapping around her slender form. "Thank you," she whispered against his chest, "for saving me." "Thank you," Marcus replied, "for saving us both." As he held her in the empty laboratory, surrounded by the soft glow of crystal formations, Marcus realized that his desperate salvage mission had become something else entirely. He'd found someone who needed him as much as he needed her, and for the first time in years, he wasn't alone. Zara Voss had dreamed of dying stars in the depths of stasis. Her consciousness had drifted through memories and nightmares, reliving the moment when the hegemony ships had appeared like vultures. Against the void, she remembered the panic in the research team's voices, the hasty preparations, the cold touch of the stasis pod as they sealed her inside. They had promised to return for her, but even then, she had known it was a lie born of desperation. Now, as awareness slowly returned to her body, Zara felt the familiar weight of solitude pressing against her chest, but something was different. The energy signature around her had changed, warmer, more complex, touched with something she hadn't felt in decades. Hope, easy, a gentle voice said, "You're safe now." Zara opened her eyes fully and found herself looking into the concerned face of Marcus Reed. His dark hair was disheveled, his stubbled jaw set with determination, but his brown eyes held a kindness that made her heart skip. He was supporting her with strong arms, his body radiating warmth that her energy-sensitive skin could feel like a gentle flame. "The jump," she whispered, her voice still rough from stasis. "It worked," Marcus nodded, helping her sit up on the laboratory floor. "We're in deep space, somewhere between the Vega and Centauri sectors. Your little light show back there scattered our molecules across half the galaxy before putting us back together out here." Zara managed a weak smile. "Not exactly little. That was a quantum-fold jump. We traveled nearly 300 light-years in an instant. The energy required," she trailed off, realizing the implications. "I shouldn't have been able to do that alone." "Maybe you weren't alone," Marcus said quietly. Their eyes met, and Zara felt that strange resonance again, a harmony between her quantum abilities and something in Marcus's own bioelectric field. It was impossible, yet undeniable. Humans weren't supposed to be quantum sensitive, but there was something different about this man who had risked everything to free her. "We need to check the station's systems," Zara said, though she made no move to stand. Being close to Marcus felt too good, too natural. The jump might have damaged the power grid. "I ran a basic diagnostic while you were unconscious," Marcus replied. "Everything looks stable. Your crystalline friends seem to be holding things together quite well. They're not crystals," Zara explained, finally finding the strength to stand. Marcus rose with her, his hand lingering on her arm. "They're energy conduits, grown from quantum-responsive minerals. My people use them to channel and focus our abilities. The research team was studying them when the hegemony came for you," Marcus finished. "Why do they want you so badly?" Zara walked to the nearest viewport, gazing out at the star-filled void. "Because I'm the last of my kind. The resonants were created by the precursors as guardians of their technology. But we were also engineered to be sterile. No children, no future, just eternal servitude. The hegemony discovered that our abilities could be weaponized, turned into planet-killing energy weapons. They've been hunting us for 50 years. And now they'll hunt us both," Marcus said, joining her at the viewport. "I'm sorry," Zara said, turning to face him. "I should have warned you what you were getting into. You could have taken your ship and escaped while I held them off." Marcus shook his head. "I've been running my whole life from debt, from failure, from getting too close to anyone. I'm tired of running alone." The honesty in his voice made Zara's breath catch. She reached out tentatively, her fingers brushing his hand. The contact sent a warm pulse through her quantum field, and she saw Marcus's eyes widen as he felt it too. "You can feel that," she said wonderingly. "The energy resonance, that's impossible." "My grandmother was from the periphery colonies," Marcus said. "She used to say our family had old blood, traces of genetic modification from the early terraforming days." I never believed her until now. Zara's heart raced. If Marcus had even a trace of quantum sensitivity, it would explain the strange harmony she felt with him. It would also make him incredibly valuable to the hegemony and incredibly dangerous to be around. "Marcus, this changes everything," she said. "If they discover you have abilities, then we make sure they don't," Marcus interrupted. But first, we need to secure the station. If this place is really a disguised precursor ship, there might be defensive systems we can use. They spent the next few hours exploring Kepler Station together. Zara led Marcus through the crystalline corridors, explaining how the quantum conduits worked and how they interfaced with the station's systems. With each passing moment, she felt more connected to him, not just physically, but emotionally. He listened to her stories without judgment, asked intelligent questions, and treated her as an equal rather than a weapon or a curiosity. In the station's data core, they discovered the truth about Kepler Station. It had indeed been a precursor vessel, hidden for millennia in the asteroid belt before being discovered by human scientists. The research team had been trying to unlock its secrets when the hegemony had tracked them down. "Look at this," Marcus said, pointing to a schematic on the holographic display. "The station doesn't just have a jump drive, it has a cloaking system, defensive shields, even some kind of matter replicator. This thing is more than a ship, it's a mobile fortress." Zara studied the display, her quantum abilities allowing her to interface directly with the precursor systems. Most of it is dormant, waiting for the right energy signature to activate. The original crew programmed it to respond only to a resonant. "Can you bring it online?" "Some of it, yes, but it would require a massive energy output more than I can generate alone." Marcus stepped closer, his hand finding hers. "What if you weren't alone?" The suggestion hung in the air between them. Zara knew what he was proposing, a quantum link between their abilities, combining their bioelectric fields to create a more powerful resonance. It was dangerous, potentially lethal, and would create a psychic bond that could never be broken. "Marcus, if we do this, there's no going back," she said. "A quantum link is permanent. We'd be connected at the cellular level, sharing thoughts, emotions, even life force. If one of us dies, then we die together," Marcus said simply. "I've been alone for so long, Zara. I don't want to be alone anymore." Tears gathered in her eyes as she looked at this remarkable man, who had already risked everything for her. "Are you sure?" In answer, Marcus pulled her into his arms. Their lips met in a kiss that sent shockwaves through both their quantum fields. Energy crackled around them as their bioelectric patterns began to synchronize, creating a feedback loop that made the station's crystals pulse with brilliant light. When they finally broke apart, both were breathless. Zara could feel Marcus's thoughts touching the edges of her consciousness, his determination, his loneliness, his growing love for her, and she knew he could feel hers in return. "The link is forming," she whispered. "We have to complete it now, or the energy buildup will tear us apart." They moved to the station's primary control center, where the largest quantum conduit rose from the floor like a crystal tree. Zara placed her hands on its surface, feeling the ancient power flowing through the ship's systems. Marcus stood behind her, his hands covering hers, his body pressed against her back. "Together," Zara said. They opened their minds to each other, letting their quantum fields merge and amplify. The sensation was overwhelming, two souls becoming one, two hearts beating in perfect synchronization. Power flowed through them and into the station, awakening systems that had slumbered for millennia. The fortress came alive around them. Defensive shields shimmered into existence. Weapons rays emerged from hidden compartments, and the cloaking system engaged with a sound like singing crystals. Kepler Station had become what it was always meant to be, a sanctuary for those the galaxy had forgotten, but the effort had drained them both. Zara collapsed against Marcus, her silver hair spilling across his chest as he held her close. The quantum link was complete now, binding them together in ways that went beyond the physical. She could feel his strength supporting her, his love wrapping around her like a warm blanket. "We did it," Marcus whispered, his voice filled with wonder. "We actually did it." "Yes," Zara agreed, tilting her head up to look at him. "But this is just the beginning. The hegemony will come for us, and when they do, we'll be ready." Marcus smiled, his hand stroking her hair. "Let them come. They'll find more than they bargained for." As they held each other in the heart of their newly awakened fortress, Zara felt something she hadn't experienced in 50 years of running and hiding peace. She was no longer alone, no longer just a weapon to be used by others. She had found her partner, her equal, her other half, and together they would face whatever came next. The abandoned station was no longer abandoned. It had become a home, a sanctuary, and a symbol of hope for all those who refused to surrender to tyranny. But more than that, it had become the birthplace of a love that would reshape the galaxy itself. In the depths of space, two hearts beat as one, and the universe trembled with the power of their combined will. 3 days had passed since the quantum link had been forged, and Marcus Reed was still learning to navigate the strange new reality of sharing his mind with another person. The connection with Zara wasn't constant, more like a warm presence in the back of his consciousness, a gentle touch that reminded him he was no longer alone. But in moments of strong emotion, the link blazed to life, allowing them to share thoughts and feelings with startling clarity. Right now, as he worked to repair a damaged power relay in the station's lower levels, Marcus could feel Zara's concentration flowing through their bond. She was 3 levels above him in the botanical section, coaxing life from the dormant hydroponic systems. Her touch with living things was as gentle as it was with quantum energy. Marcus. Zara's voice echoed through the calm system, tinged with excitement. Come to Hydroponics Bay 7. I want to show you something. He set down his tools and made his way through the station's winding corridors. The layout was becoming more familiar each day, though he suspected the ship was slowly reconfiguring itself to better suit their needs. The precursor technology was adaptive, learning from their patterns and preferences. Marcus found Zara kneeling beside a cultivation bed, her silver hair catching the soft light from the growing lamps. She wore a simple tunic and leggings they'd fabricated from the station's matter replicators, but somehow she made even the utilitarian clothing look elegant. When she looked up at him, her violet eyes sparkled with joy. Look, she said, gesturing to the bed. Marcus knelt beside her and saw tiny green shoots pushing through the nutrient substrate. You got them to grow, he said, genuinely impressed. I thought you said the seeds were too old. They were, Zara replied, her fingers hovering over the delicate sprouts. But life finds a way, especially when given the right encouragement. She glanced at him meaningfully. Some things just need the right conditions to flourish. Marcus understood the deeper meaning, like their relationship, which had grown from desperate circumstances into something beautiful and strong. He reached out to touch one of the shoots, and through their link, he felt Zara's contentment wash over him. What are they? He asked. Terran tomatoes, according to the seed bank, but also something else the genetic markers show. Precursor modifications. I think these were part of a long-term agricultural experiment. She sat back on her heels, studying the plants with scientific fascination. The precursors didn't just create guardians like my people. They were trying to create a perfect ecosystem, a harmony between organic and quantum life, and we're part of that harmony, Marcus said. It wasn't a question. I think so. The station responds to us differently than it did to the human researchers. It's not just following our commands, it's anticipating our needs, growing with us. As if to prove her point, the lighting in the hydroponics bay shifted to a warmer tone, and a gentle breeze began circulating through the air recyclers. The station was creating the perfect environment for both the plants and its inhabitants. They worked together for the next few hours, tending to the growing plants and setting up new cultivation beds. Marcus found himself marveling at how naturally they moved together, their actions synchronized by their quantum link. When Zara needed a tool, he was already handing it to her. When he struggled with a heavy planting tray, she was there to help lift it. We're like a dance, he commented as they took a break, sitting on a bench overlooking the green rows of new growth. A very practical dance. Zara agreed with a smile. Though I wouldn't mind a more traditional one sometime. Marcus felt a flush of warmth through their connection. I'd like that too. Though I should warn you, I'm not much of a dancer. I could teach you, Zara said, her voice soft. My people valued music and movement as expressions of quantum harmony. Dancing was considered a form of meditation. Marcus took her hand, feeling the familiar tingle of energy that passed between them. You're not isolated anymore. No, she agreed, squeezing his fingers. For the first time in my life, I feel truly connected to someone. Not just quantum resonance, but something deeper. Their moment of intimacy was interrupted by an alert tone from the station's communication system. Marcus felt Zara's tension spike through their link as they both recognized the significance. Someone was trying to contact them. They hurried to the command center, where the main view screen displayed an incoming transmission. The signal was heavily encrypted and transmitted on a frequency that suggested military origin. It could be the hegemony, Zara said, her voice tight with worry. Or it could be someone else. Marcus replied, "Let's find out." He accepted the transmission, and the screen filled with the image of a middle-aged woman with steel gray hair and sharp intelligence in her eyes. She wore a simple civilian outfit, but Marcus recognized the bearing of someone accustomed to command. "My name is Captain Elena Vasquez," the woman said. "I'm transmitting from the freighter Wandering Star. I'm looking for Zara Voss." Marcus felt Zara stiffen beside him. "You know her?" he asked through their link. "I know of her." Zara replied silently. "She was a hegemony officer who went rogue 3 years ago. She's been helping Resonance escape." "I know you're listening, Zara," Elena continued. "I have information about the hegemony's search for you, and I have someone aboard who claims to know you. Someone who says his name is Kale." Zara gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Through their link, Marcus felt a surge of shock and hope so powerful it nearly knocked him backward. "Kale," Zara whispered. "But he's dead. I saw him die." "Who is Kale?" Marcus asked aloud. "My brother," Zara said, tears streaming down her face. "My twin brother. We were the last 2 resonants created by the precursors. He was supposed to be executed by the hegemony 5 years ago." On the screen, Elena seemed to sense their internal conversation. "I understand your caution. The hegemony has been known to use deception, but I'm willing to submit to any verification you require. I have 3 other rescued resonants aboard my ship, and we're all committed to stopping the hegemony's genocide." Marcus looked at Zara, seeing the desperate hope in her eyes. Through their link, he felt her conflict the longing to believe. Her brother was alive, warring with the fear that this was a trap. "We need to be careful," he said. "But if there's a chance, I know," Zara replied. "I have to try." She moved to the communication console, her fingers dancing over the quantum responsive controls. "Elena Vasquez, this is Zara Voss. I'm willing to meet with you, but I have conditions." "Name them," Elena replied without hesitation. "You'll submit to a quantum scan. I'll be able to detect deception in your bioelectric field, and you'll come aboard alone first, my companion, and I will verify your identity and intentions before allowing anyone else to board." Or agreed. "I can be at your location in 6 hours." "How do you know where we are?" Marcus asked suspiciously. Elena smiled grimly. "Quantum fold jumps leave traces if you know how to look for them. Don't worry, the hegemony doesn't have this technology yet. You're safe from them for now." The transmission ended, leaving Marcus and Zara alone with their racing thoughts and the weight of impossible hope. "If Kale is really alive," Zara said, her voice barely above a whisper, "everything changes. To Resonance working together could activate systems on this station that I never dreamed possible." "And if it's a trap?" Marcus asked. "Then we'll face it together," Zara replied, turning to face him. "But Marcus, you need to understand, if my brother is alive, he's my family, the only family I have left." Marcus felt a stab of something that might have been jealousy through their link, followed immediately by shame. "I understand," he said. "Family is important." Zara stepped closer, her hands framing his face. "You're my family to now. The quantum link makes us more than lovers. We're bonded at the deepest level. Nothing can change that." She kissed him then, pouring all her love and reassurance through their connection. Marcus felt his fears dissolve under the warmth of her emotions, replaced by a fierce determination to protect what they had built together. "Whatever happens," he said against her lips, "we face it as one." "As one," Zara agreed. They spent the next few hours preparing for Elena's arrival, checking the station's defenses and discussing contingency plans. The possibility that Kale was alive had awakened something in Zara, a hope that Marcus had never seen before, but also a restlessness that made him worry about what the future might bring. As the Wandering Star approached their coordinates, Marcus stood beside Zara in the command center. Their hands intertwined, the quantum link hummed between them, steady and strong, a reminder that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face. Them together, the abandoned station had become their sanctuary. But it was about to become something more, a gathering place for the lost and the hunted, a symbol of resistance against tyranny, and at its heart, two souls bound by love and quantum energy, ready to fight for the future they had chosen to build together. The wandering star docked with Kepler Station 6 hours later, its hull scarred by years of running through hostile space. Marcus watched from the command center as Captain Elena Vasquez disembarked. Alone, her movements measured and cautious. She was older than she'd appeared on the view screen, with lines of exhaustion etched around her eyes and a slight limp that spoke of old injuries. She's carrying concealed weapons, Zara observed, her quantum senses detecting the energy signatures of plasma charges and neural disruptors. But her bioelectric field shows no deception. She believes everything she told us. Marcus nodded, his hand resting on Zara's shoulder. Through their link, he could feel her nervous energy, the desperate hope warring with years of learned caution. That doesn't mean she's right about your brother. I know, Zara replied. But I have to find out. They met Elena in the station's main docking bay, where the crystalline formations had grown into elaborate archways that pulsed with soft blue light. Elena's eyes widened as she took in the transformed environment. Remarkable, she breathed. The reports about resonant abilities were understated. You've awakened the entire ship. Not just me, Zara said, glancing at Marcus. We did it together. Elena's sharp gaze shifted between them, noting their intertwined hands and the subtle energy field that surrounded them both. A quantum link. I've heard theories about such things, but I never thought. You said you had information about the hegemony's search for us, Marcus interrupted, not wanting to discuss their private bond with a stranger. Yes, Elena's expression grew grim. They've mobilized 3 full battle groups to hunt for you. The quantum signature from your jump was detected by their deep space monitoring stations. They know roughly where you are, but the interference from this sector's pulsar emissions is buying you time. How much time? Zara asked. Days, maybe. A week at most. But that's not the worst of it. Elena paused, her weathered face troubled. They've developed a new weapon, a quantum disruptor that can sever the connection between a resonant and their energy matrix. It's a death sentence for your kind. Marcus felt Zara's fear spike through their link, followed immediately by a cold determination. Then we need to be ready for them, he said, or we need to run. Elena replied, which is why I'm here. I have a proposition for you. But first, she looked directly at Zara. You need to see him. You need to see Kale. Zara's breath caught. He's really alive. See for yourself. Elena activated a portable holographic projector, and the air shimmered. As a figure materialized between them, the man in the projection was tall and lean, with silver hair and violet eyes that mirrored Zara's own. But where Zara radiated warmth and life, this figure seemed diminished, as if some vital part of him had been drained away. His skin was pale, almost translucent, and dark lines traced patterns across his arms and neck like veins of shadow. Zara. The figure spoke, his voice carrying the same musical quality as his sister's, but tinged with exhaustion. If you're seeing this, then Elena found you. I pray it's not too late. Zara stepped forward, her hand reaching toward the projection. Kale, what did they do to you? The hegemony didn't execute me. Kel's image continued. They experimented on me, tried to extract my quantum abilities and transfer them to their soldiers. The process, it's killing me slowly. I have weeks, maybe less. Marcus felt Zara's anguish through their link, a pain so profound it nearly brought him to his knees. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, lending her his strength as she fought to stay standing. But I learned something, Kale continued. The hegemony's ultimate goal isn't just to weaponize resonant abilities. They want to create artificial resonance humans modified to channel quantum energy. The experiments on me were just the beginning. The projection flickered, and Kel's image became more urgent. Zara, you have to stop them. The station you're on, it's not just a precursor ship, it's a factory, designed to create new resonance. The hegemony must never get their hands on it. The hologram faded, leaving them in stunned silence. Zara turned. In Marcus's arms, her face streaked with tears. He's dying because of me, because I wasn't there to protect him. No, Marcus said firmly. He's dying because the hegemony are monsters. This isn't your fault. Elena cleared her throat. There's more. Kale believes there might be a way to reverse the damage done to him, but it would require the combined power of multiple resonance working together. The 3 I have aboard my ship are willing to try, but they'll need me, Zara finished. And if we attempt it, we'll be vulnerable to attack. Exactly. Which is why I'm proposing we take the station and jump to the sanctuary, a hidden colony where other refugees from the hegemony have gathered. We'd have protection there, time to attempt the healing, and access to resources we need. Marcus studied Elena's face, looking for any sign of deception. And what's stopping the hegemony from following us there? The sanctuary is protected by a quantum maze, a defensive system that scrambles spacetime around the colony. Only someone with resonant abilities can navigate it safely. It sounds too good to be true. Marcus said. It is, Elena admitted. The sanctuary is dying. The quantum maze requires constant maintenance, and we're running out of resonance powerful enough to sustain it. That's why we need Zara. She's the strongest of our kind. And with this station's amplification systems, you want me to become a permanent power source, Zara said quietly. I want you to become our salvation, Elena replied. All of us humans in resonance alike. The hegemony won't stop with genocide. They'll use our technology to conquer the entire galaxy. Marcus felt the weight of the decision pressing down on them. Through their link, he sensed Zara's conflict, her desperate need to save her brother, warring with the knowledge that leaving their sanctuary would put them all at risk. There's something else, Elena continued. The other resonance aboard my ship, one of them is pregnant. Zara's eyes widened. That's impossible. We're sterile. Not anymore. Something has changed in the quantum matrix. New resonants are being born naturally. Without precursor intervention, the child could be the first of a new generation. The implications hit Marcus like a physical blow. If resonance could reproduce naturally, they weren't a dying race anymore. They were a species on the brink of rebirth, but only if they could survive the hegemony's persecution. I need to think, Zara said, her voice barely above a whisper. Of course, Elena replied. But don't take too long. The hegemony won't wait for us to make up our minds. As if summoned by her words, the station's alert system activated. Red lights flashed throughout the docking bay, and the crystalline formations began to pulse with urgent energy. What is it? Elena asked. Marcus was already moving toward the nearest control panel, his quantum sensitivity allowing him to interface with the station's systems. Long-range sensors are picking up multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace. Hegemony signatures. How many? Zara asked, joining him at the console. 12, no, 15 ships, including the dreadnoughts. Marcus looked up, his face grim. It's a full battle fleet. Elena cursed under her breath. They found us faster than I expected. The quantum disruptor must be interfering with the pulsar emissions. Can we outrun them? Zara asked. Not with my ship, Elena replied. The wandering star is fast, but not that fast. Marcus felt the familiar weight of impossible decisions. Stay and fight with weapons they'd never tested against an overwhelming force, or attempt another quantum jump that might tear the station apart. Through their link, he felt Zara's determination crystallizing into resolve. We fight, she said. This is our home now, our sanctuary. We don't run anymore. Zara, they have quantum disruptors, Elena warned. If they get close enough to use them, then we don't let them get close, Marcus said, his hand finding Zara's. This station has defensive systems we haven't even explored. Yet, if we're going to make a stand, this is the place to do it. Elena looked between them, seeing the steel in their eyes and the unbreakable bond that connected them. Then I'd better get my people aboard. If we're going to fight, we'll need every advantage we can get. As Elena hurried back to her ship, Marcus and Zara stood together in the pulsing light of the crystal formations. The hegemony fleet was approaching, bringing death and destruction in their wake. But for the first time since they'd found each other, they weren't running. Whatever happens, Zara said, her hand tightening in his, we face it together, together. Marcus agreed. The abandoned station had become their fortress, their sanctuary, their home, and they would defend it with everything they had, including their lives. The battle for the future of both their species was about to begin. and at its heart stood two souls bound by love and quantum fire, ready to fight for the right to exist. The universe was about to witness the power of love transformed into a weapon of hope. The hegemony fleet approached like a storm of metal and malice, their ships arranged in a perfect battle formation that spoke of countless conquests. Marcus stood beside Zara in the station's command center, watching the tactical display as 15 warships closed the distance between them and destruction. Primary weapons charging, he reported, his hands dancing over the precursor control systems. But I've never fired anything this powerful before. The station will guide you, Zara said. Her eyes closed as she communed with the ship's quantum matrix. It remembers battles from millennia ago. Trust it. Through their link, Marcus felt the vast intelligence of the precursor ship awakening fully for the first time in eons. The crystalline formations throughout the station pulsed with increasing intensity, channeling power from the quantum realm itself. Elena's voice crackled through the calm system from the bridge of the wandering star. The other resonance are in position. Kale is very weak, but he insists on helping. Marcus felt Zara's pain spike through their connection. Her brother was dying, and instead of being able to heal him, they were about to drag him into battle, but there was no choice. Incoming transmission from the hegemony fleet, the station's AI announced. The view screen filled with the image of a man in his 50s, wearing the black and gold uniform of a hegemony admiral. His face was scarred, his eyes cold as winter. Space, this is Admiral Thorne of the Hegemony 5th Fleet. You are harboring stolen property of the Hegemony Empire. Surrender the resonant known as Zara Voss, and the rest of you will be permitted to live. Stolen property. Marcus felt his anger flare. She's a person, not a thing. Admiral Thorne's lips curved in a cruel smile. The resonants are genetic, constructs created by an extinct civilization. They have no more rights than any other piece of advanced technology. You can try to take me, Zara said, stepping forward. Her voice was calm, but Marcus could feel the quantum energy building around her like a gathering storm. But I am not the same helpless prisoner you've been hunting. I have found my strength. Strength, Thorne laughed. You're one resonant. Against an entire fleet. No, Zara agreed. But I'm not alone. She reached out through their quantum link, not just to Marcus, but to the other resonants aboard Elena's ship. Marcus felt their consciousness touch his Kel's fading, but determined presence. The fierce protectiveness of a woman named Vera. The quiet strength of an elderly resonant called Joran, and beneath it all, the faint but growing awareness of new life stirring in the pregnant woman named Talia. Together, they formed a network of interconnected minds and quantum fields, their combined power amplified by the station's ancient systems. The crystalline formations throughout Kepler Station blazed with light as energy flowed between them. Fire. Marcus said that the station's primary weapons discharged in a symphony of destruction. Beams of coherent quantum energy lanced out across the void, each one guided by the combined will of the resonant network. The hegemony ships scattered, their shields flaring as they absorbed the impossible energies. But 3 of the smaller vessels were caught in the crossfire and simply ceased to exist. Impossible, Admiral Thorne breathed. No single ship could generate that much power. This isn't a ship, Zara said, her voice carrying across the quantum field. This is a sanctuary, a place where we can finally stop running and start fighting. Back, the battle was joined in earnest then. The hegemony fleet unleashed everything they had: plasma torpedoes, particle beams, and the dreaded quantum disruptors that could sever a resonance connection to their abilities. But the station's defenses held, its shields powered by the combined will of its inhabitants. Marcus found himself moving in perfect synchronization with Zara. Their thoughts merged as they guided the station's weapons systems. Through their link, he could feel the strain on the other resonants, especially Kale, whose damaged quantum matrix was burning itself out with each passing moment. He's not going to make it, Elena's voice came through the comm, tight with grief. The effort is killing him. Then we finish this quickly, Marcus said. All power to the forward batteries. We're going to punch through their line. The station lurched forward, its massive bulk moving with surprising grace as it charged directly at the hegemony fleet. Admiral Thorne's flagship, a dreadnought called the Iron Fist, turned to meet them. its weapons glowing with murderous intent. Quantum disruptors charging, the station's AI warned. Impact in 30 seconds. Through their link, Marcus felt Zara making a terrible choice. She was going to shield the other resonance with her own quantum field, absorbing the disruptor. Blast to keep them connected. It would likely kill her, but it would give the others a chance to escape. No, Marcus said firmly. There has to be another way. There is, said a new voice, weak but determined. Kel's image appeared on the view screen. His face gaunt, but his eyes blazing with fierce determination. The station's quantum core can be overloaded. The explosion would destroy the entire fleet. And us with it, Zara protested. Kale, I won't let you. I'm dying anyway. Kale interrupted. But this way, my death means something. It saves you, saves the others, saves the future of our people. There has to be another way, Marcus said desperately. But even as he spoke, he could feel the quantum disruptors locking onto their position. Then, in the depths of their shared consciousness, he felt something new, a presence that was neither his nor Zara's, but somehow both. It was the echo of every moment they'd shared, every touch, every kiss, every whispered word of love. It was their bond made manifest, a quantum entanglement so profound that it transcended the physical laws of the universe. Wait, he said, understanding flooding through him. The station isn't just a factory for creating resonance. It's a catalyst for quantum evolution. Our link, it's not just connecting us to each other. It's connecting us to the quantum field itself. What are you saying? Zara asked. I'm saying we don't need to sacrifice anyone, Marcus replied. We need to become something new. He opened his mind completely, letting the quantum field flow through him without resistance. The sensation was overwhelming, but Zara was there, with him, her strength supporting his, her love anchoring him to reality. Together, they reached out to the other resonance, not just linking their minds, but merging their quantum signatures into something entirely new. The station responded, its crystalline formations blazing with light as it channeled power from dimensions beyond normal space-time. The quantum disruptor blast struck the station's shields and simply dissipated, its energy absorbed and converted into something else, something that made the very stars tremble. The hegemony fleet found themselves facing not just a single ship, but a manifestation of the quantum field itself, powered by love and determination and the unbreakable bonds between souls. This is Admiral Thorne, came the panicked voice from the flagship. All ships, retreat, retreat. But it was too late. The station's weapons fired again. And this time they didn't just destroy the hegemony ships, they transformed them. Their matter reorganized at the quantum level into something harmless. The crews found themselves adrift in space, their weapons useless, their ships converted into rescue vessels. How? Admiral Thorne's voice was barely a whisper. We evolved, Zara said simply. We became what we were always meant to be. In the aftermath of the battle, the resonance gathered in the station's central chamber. Kale was there, his condition stabilized by the quantum healing field that now permeated the entire ship. The other resonance looked stronger too, their abilities enhanced by their connection to the network. The hegemony will send more ships. Elena warned, this victory won't end the war. No, Marcus agreed. But it will change it. We're not running anymore. We're building something new. A place where resonance and humans can work together, Zara added. Where our children can grow up free. Months later, Kepler Station had become the heart of a new civilization. The resonant network had grown, connecting dozens of worlds and stations throughout the galaxy. The hegemony still existed, but their power was broken. Their quantum weapons useless against the new generation of evolved beings. Marcus stood in the observation deck, watching as children played in the station's garden, some fully human, some fully resonant, and some that were something new entirely. The future was uncertain, but it was bright with possibility. Any regrets? Zara asked, joining him at the viewport. She was beautiful in the starlight, her silver hair flowing around, her shoulders, her violet eyes bright with contentment. Only one, Marcus said, turning to face her. That it took me so long to find you. She smiled, the expression lighting up her entire face. We found each other when we needed to. That's all that matters. They kissed then, their quantum fields merging in a dance of light and energy that rippled through the station's crystalline formations. Around them, the universe continued its eternal dance, but for the first time in millennia. It was a dance of hope rather than desperation. The abandoned station had become a beacon of light in the darkness, a place where love had triumphed over hate, where evolution had chosen compassion over conquest, and at its heart, two souls bound by quantum fire continued their eternal dance, proving that even in the vast emptiness of space, love could create its own stars.